I'm here to tell you that one of the single biggest opportunities that is available within the agricultural industry today is not partnering with, but benefiting from the federal government, believe it or not. Now, I have a massive amount of respect for the agricultural industry. That is something that it really requires a tremendous amount of hard work, early mornings, late nights, and oftentimes serious financial struggles. And this is one of the ways to be able to get ahead like nobody has ever seen. So I'll just review the quick agenda. And our presentation tonight is not going to be long. I just want you to know a little bit about what this particular tax credit is, how much you can actually get in the form of a check from the federal government, how to qualify for it, what the actual qualifying activities are, who is an ideal candidate for it. I'm going to show you a couple of case studies of people just like you that we were able to help. And then, of course, what it costs, right? So yes, we're very noble, but we're not that noble because we don't work free. Neither do you. And so this is a for-profit venture for us, and it will be for you too. But ultimately, you'll be the biggest winner. So I want you to know that this tax credit, it started all the way under the Ronald Reagan administration in the beginning of the 1980s. But it took all the way until 2015 when the PATH Act was passed for a research and development tax credit to actually become part of the permanent law. So prior to 2015, it was what we call annually renewable. And Congress had to, every single time, allow for additional dollars to be spent on American businesses. And really, this whole thing is designed to encourage United States-based companies to spend money on innovation, research, or improving technology within their businesses in order to compete on a worldwide scale. Well, to fast forward, in 2022, something very significant happened in the tax law. In 2022, they changed it dramatically. And in my personal opinion, it made it a lot less attractive. In a minute, we're going to be talking about something called QREs, Qualified Research Expenses. It's a fancy way to say, give me a tax break on some of the things that I'm doing already. And in 2022, the federal government said, hey, these QREs, we're going to make you spread them out over a 6-year period. That's called amortizing. And you can't have all the expenses in the year incurred. Well, what recently happened, specifically on the 4th of July of this year, the one big beautiful bill was passed. Now that thing is thousands of pages. And I'm here to tell you that there's one key section in there very specific to research and development tax credits. I'm going to tell you now the most important thing that I did is it allows businesses across America that have QREs, qualified research expenses, to go backwards in time and erase the tax law going all the way back to 2022. Now, when I say erase, I mean it figuratively. What the one big beautiful bill says is that there is a 1-year opportunity from the 4th of July, 2025 through the 4th of July, 2026, that all businesses can go backwards in time and amend their 3 previous years of tax returns and take the full expensing that they used to have to amortize. And so that's called full expensing, and it's a really big deal. Now, when we talk about R&D, the very first thing that people think about almost always are lab coats, right? They think about big tech, pharma, what they're doing in nuclear medicine and creating brand new drugs. But what most companies and most farmers don't realize is that regular activities that we undergo on an all the time basis in your industry can in fact qualify. And so I'm here to tell you that particularly within agriculture and within the harvesting industries, meaning growing grapes, and we're just going to call it agriculture farming across the board. What we look for are activities that have to do with developing a new or improved process or products. And so I don't know of a business out there that is not trying to improve a current process in order to increase, say, crop yields. Are you developing any kind of new software platforms to interface with your clients, or any 3D modeling on your farm? Are you developing any new designs or formulations or techniques? So I'm going to give you some clues specific to these industries. How about experimenting with new materials? How about developing machinery or prototypes to be able to allow you to do your job easier? So the things that we're talking about as far as qualifying activities, I'm looking at a little list in front of me. How about experimenting with new seed varieties or crop genetics or breeding techniques, or developing and testing any forms of innovative equipment or irrigation systems or harvesting techniques? How about creating or implementing new strategies for fertilization or soil treatments or animal feeds or crop protection products, or prototyping or testing of new packaging or storage or transportation solutions of our crops, or innovating environmentally friendly procedures or climate resilient crops? And so these are a lot of the different types of things that we look at. Now, some of you might be saying to yourself, boy, I don't know if I really have that kind of business. I'm just farming. Well, let me tell you, we are experts at, number one, telling the truth 100% of the time, and number two, helping you identify the strategies necessary to pass the 4-part qualification criteria test. Now, this 4-part test that I'm showing you here is something that the IRS uses to decide if your work qualifies for the R&D credit. And to qualify, the work that you do must aim to improve something, or it also must involve some kind of science or technology. And believe it or not, it's got to have some kind of uncertainty, and it has to include testing or experimentation. Now, again, all of that sounds kind of hard to qualify for. No, let me go through it with you, and then I'm going to show you how we can help. So number one, permitted purpose, right? Does your farm, does your business have any kind of a detailed goal to create or improve a product or a process or software or an idea? Think about it for a second. Now, these are broad terminology. Tell me a company in America that doesn't have an idea to improve a process, right? And, so it lasts longer, is cheaper, greener, quicker, better, lasts longer, more reliably. All of those things are areas for qualification, particularly in the word process. Believe it or not, most farmers are actually attempting to improve processes all the time. They just don't realize that what they're doing and the wages that they pay themselves and their employees could be considered a qualified research expense. If you look in the bottom left corner, it's called the test of elimination of uncertainty. Let's just read it to you. You have to be trying to figure something out, like how to build or improve or design a product or process, because you didn't already know the best way to do it. Well, let me tell you what I know about farmers. That's all they do, and it's every single day. And it's called troubleshooting, right? Every single day we're trying to figure out something. Am I going to increase or decrease nitrogen? Am I going to harvest on this day or that day? How am I going to irrigate? How am I going to install my new irrigation systems? What kind of harvesting techniques am I going to use? But if you think about it, how to build or improve or design a process. Let me say it again. How to improve a process, because you didn't already know the best way to do it. That's what we all do. And not knowing the best way to do it, if you look in the bottom right corner, That is what we call a process of experimentation. Experimentation are things like trying out designs or running simulations or using trial and error. That's a broad term for trying to figure out a way to do it, utilizing a trial and error approach. And that's what we all do. Anybody that's an entrepreneur in America is always implementing trial and error. And in the top right corner, it talks about things having to be technological in nature. And the work has to be based on some kind of science or engineering, right? Like physics or chemistry, biology, computers, or technical and design. Well, let me tell you about farming. It's all chemistry, right? It's all chemistry. It's a combination of what's in the dirt, what's in the seed, how much water, what kind of water, how's the sunlight coming in, what are our crop yields going to be, and what are we planting? And so all of that has to do with being technological in nature. And so this is one of the areas, y'all, that we excel. Now, our job is to help identify these things that we call QREs, qualified research expenses. Now, the money has to be spent in the United States on your business, and it can include things like salaries and wages, right? That's a really big deal. And there's a ton of people that are actually involved in direct research, right? Whether they know it or not, they're doing direct research on an all the time basis. And by the way, that also includes direct supervision of other people doing research and direct support of research in a QRE. The next giant category is subcontractors, whereby up to 65% of expenses in qualified research expenses for subcontractors can be included in this tax credits as long as you have borne the risk and retained the rights of whatever was developed by outsourced labor or subcontractor costs. Now, here's something you'll get a kick out of: supplies and materials. Now, by the way, you know it's not a qualification? Success. Failure is oftentimes one of the easiest ways to qualify. And so I have all kinds of clients that have burned all kinds of cash on materials and supplies, many of which were destroyed or used during their qualifying activities as they were trying to figure something out. And oftentimes this includes custom equipment costs also, which is often used during the harvest. Now, I know a lot of you are in harvest season now, so we're recording this intentionally to shoot it to you after the fact. And there's also a lot of irrigation-oriented individuals that are really going high tech, and they are starting to lean on cloud computing a heck of a lot more. And those cloud computing costs associated with development environments that are deployed on cloud infrastructure like Amazon Web Services or Google Cloud or StreamPC or Microsoft Azure, those things are also QREs. So this is a big deal, y'all. Now, if you look at this list of industries, they are actually ranked in obviousness of qualification. And look at who's number one on that list, right? It's the agricultural industry. Now, who are absolutely ideal candidates for everything that we're talking tonight? Number one, it's ideal for companies, right? And so doing any amount of research and incurring expenses can qualify. There is no upper limit to this subject. And we utilize something just spectacular. What am I talking about? We have a piece of software that you, the agricultural expert, and maybe your CPA also, you're invited to our platform. In addition to that, we've got CPAs, tax attorneys, and engineers that will convert a question and answer and an information gathering process into our shared information portal, which will convert into a very comprehensive study or a qualitative analysis. And it's going to include a very detailed breakdown of R&D costs, how they're allocated, a summary of individual activities that were performed in a package that includes a full report with supporting worksheets, all of the draft federal and state tax filing forms, and all of the filing instructions. Why is this a big deal? And I'm here to tell you, I'm sure your CPA is great. I'm sure you've been using the same CPA that maybe your dad used before you. Well, let me tell you, there's 70,000 tax credits in the code. And we're focusing on this subject, number one, because we're expert. Number two, we have multi-million-dollar software to be able to help us. Number three, most CPAs don't know how to do this. Most CPAs don't have the ability to produce a comprehensive study to go in with this amended return. It's way too nuanced. It's way too specialized for a CPA generalist to be able to prepare with your year-end tax filings. And considering there's a short window of a short time window of opportunity to go back 3 years and amend, this is why there's some urgency to the process. And so our platform is second to none. And when we create these, we fully defend them as well. So this is not like, hey, how much you might get. We're going to tell you exactly. Now, by the way, I'm proud to just to show you a couple of case designs. This is something that we've done recently. This is a farmer up in Nebraska who only had 3 employees. And if you look in the bottom right corner, there's both a federal and a state credit that we were able to get this family. And the federal credit was $1.753 million, and the state credit was almost $250,000. That's a big deal. That's a really big deal. And knowing what I know about how farmers struggle in America today, particularly from a financial perspective, this could be one of the most significant things for you. This is another example, something totally different. It's a little software company. This is an AI company. They were pre-revenue. They hadn't even made any money yet. And research and development was able to get them back all of the FICA taxes that they had paid on their employees. And we only did 1 year of a study for them. We're not even done with the others. But in this case, I just thought I'd show you that $45,000 to a pre-revenue company was a pretty darn big deal. Now, here's the other very complicated thing about R&D is that all states are different. And I hope the state you're watching this broadcast from is on the map. I hope it's yellow, because yellow also has state research and development tax credits. Yes, the Fed is available in all 50 states and territories. The yellow also has sometimes very significant state tax credits as well. And by the way, this is where our software is absolutely amazing, because we do it and are specialists on all subjects. This right here is what we call our deliverable. This is our finished product. So I want to tell you what it is, and I'm going to tell you how much it costs right up front. So this deliverable, again, also known as a substantiation report or a qualitative analysis, it's generally around 55 pages. And not only does it have a complete executive summary, but it clearly defines the 4-part test. But most specifically, it's customized to exactly how you, the business owner, how you qualify for the 4-part test. We actually break your business down into components. And we have what are called qualified components of your business. And we build individual substantiation reports around each component. Now, it's not easy to build these. They're very time consuming. And we work collaboratively in order to get the data so we can not only give you a substantiation report, which actually gets filed at the IRS by your CPA. We will actually do all of the work for your CPA, including all of the draft forms for your CPA to do the filing. What's awesome about this is that there is no cost to be able to determine your actual eligibility. And so in a few minutes when I'm done, I'm going to show you something pretty cool. This is going to be a kind of a neat little technology trick also. So step one is being able to confirm that you're in fact eligible. That happens, by the way, number one, by entering a small amount of information on our website. And number two, having a brief Zoom meeting face-to-face with a research and development expert who's going to ask you some specific questions about your business to check your eligibility. Once we've determined purely from a phone conversation if you qualify, we're then going to invite you to our shared portal. The portal is where we work collectively in order to guide you through this experience for you to be able to enter salaries and wages and certain expenses that you have incurred into our system. It will take us a few days in order to generate a study. Once the study has actually passed through our quality control is when we're prepared to deliver it to you. Now, there's only a fee if there is success. So there is no fee at all in order to determine your qualification and for us to determine exactly how much your tax credit will be. We only charge a success fee. And I'm here to tell you that ours is way less than our competitors. There are two big companies in America that you've probably heard of, one of which is ADP Payroll Services. I like to call them another dollar, please, but they do payroll for a lot of companies. They recently entered the R&D tax credit space, and their fee, by the way, is 25%. Ours is 20%, meaning that when you get a tax credit, it's ultimately just going to be a split on an 80-20 basis. And if we cannot help, there's no out-of-pocket expenses at all. One of our other significant competitors, they have a 35% fee of the R&D credit. And so because of our economies of scale, because of our efficiencies, because of our strategic process, we're able to do this fast, we're able to do this effectively, and we're able to do this inexpensively, and we're able to do it very efficiently, but most importantly, accurately. Some farmers are still, feeling the crunch of the economy and are saying, boy, oh boy, if I got $100,000 tax credit, most of that's in cash, I'd have to come up with 20%. That's $20,000. That's a little too rich for my blood. No problem. We'll finance you. Okay. And so, there's something called the time value of money. And so we charge a little bit more, but we'll give you the opportunity just to make 12 monthly payments to us. And what oftentimes people do is they get the study, they file the study, they make their first payment to us. Usually they make 2 or 3 payments to us. And then the money comes in from the Fed or the state, and then they just pay us off in full with whatever they get in the form of a tax credit. Does that make sense? I hope so. So the reasons why you should move forward with this is, number one, first and foremost, there's potentially thousands and oftentimes hundreds of thousands and sometimes even millions of dollars in savings. Number two is there's absolutely a zero risk opportunity here where we'll do all of the work and incur all of the costs associated with producing the study for you right up front. And you pay a fee only if there is a result. And oh, by the way, that fee is an accounting expense, an accounting and or legal expense that you get to write off on your taxes. So it's a tax deductible expense. Now, by the way, we also stand behind everything that we do. We have unlimited full protection through our audit ready support. So our reports are written, pre-audited to IRS guidelines, and we don't send in anything that we know will not be approved. And that comes with $1 million errors and omissions in policy in the event we make a mistake, and we don't make mistakes. And so I guess that's not true. I did make one once, but we made it right away as soon as it was brought to my attention. And then the very last part is to complete the onboarding process to start. Now, I'm going to escape out of this presentation. I want to show you this right here. So in a minute, Jeremy, who's my wingman on this call, he introduced me. He's going to send you an email or a text message. And there's going to be a link on there. And the link is going to take you to the page that you're looking at right now. Now, here's some facts about tax prep advocates. Number one, we're here to tell you that this is a massive, massive tax credit. And you know what is sad? That generally only the biggest companies are taking advantage of this. And literally 70, 80 billion dollars goes unclaimed on an annualized basis. And by the way, if you don't believe me, please watch the video of Senator Chuck Grassley, a current active senator, talking about why the tax code should be utilized by small and medium-sized enterprises. This website will also show you some statistics about how much money is still left unclaimed on an annual basis. Now, I'm also sure you have a lot of questions about research and development. And most importantly, can I in fact qualify? Well, right on the page that's being sent to you is an entire section of frequently asked questions. Do I qualify? Hey, I'm a startup, even if I'm not profitable. What activities qualify? How large will my credit be? Can I claim it retroactively? Do we support you in case of an audit? Is there state level? Why is having the study done? So those are all of the FAQs. Now, the most important part of the website that's being emailed to you right now is this part, sorry for my slow internet, which is called the eligibility form. Okay, and all you have to do is, in order to apply, there's nothing out of pocket, like I said, is just to answer a couple of really simple questions. We want to know, what kind of business components that you're developing, and just select from the pop-up opportunities that we give you, what kind of industry that you're in. Everything's got a pop-up in there, and you'll choose the agricultural industry. If you have a website, great. If you don't, just write nowebsite.com. And then below that is your name, business name, your email, and your phone number. As soon as it's done, let me tell you what happens. We email you a link, and we say, pick a time that's convenient for you to meet with one of our research and development onboarding specialists. And that entire process for you to be able to move forward, it's not rocket science at all. We expect the overwhelming majority of our applicants to be completely done from start to finish within 10 days of their application for this to be done. And I want to remind you, there is a very limited one-year opportunity when it comes to the one big beautiful bill that says you got this short time to go back and take advantage of the research and development tax credit for the last 3 years. And so I think that's a big deal. Now, almost everybody at this point, they all tell me the exact same things. And I think they're kind of funny. And so I'm reading your mind because this is what you're thinking. Number one, hey, this sounds way too good to be true. I hear that 3, 4, 5 times a day, 6 days per week. I don't work on the Sabbath, but 6 days a week, I hear that. And I'm here to tell you it is true. And if you don't take my word for it, please go watch the interview with Senator Chuck Grassley, who's admonishing you for not taking advantage of this already. Number two thing that I hear all the time is, why on earth has my CPA not told me about this? And I'm here to tell you that your CPA is woefully ill-equipped to manufacture a 55 to 70 page substantiation report and being able to stand up with you for you during IRS scrutiny. That's what we do as experts. Now, I'll also tell you a fact. I've personally spoken to approximately 100 certified public accountants in the last maybe 6 or 7 months. And of those 100, I have met now 2. I met my second one today. That when we were talking about this, and she said, yes, I know how to write a substantiation report. I've been doing this going all the way back to the Ronald Reagan administration. Now, no big shock here. Guess who she worked for? She worked for giant high-tech companies in Silicon Valley, okay? All of which have thousands of employees that they have enough money to have the very best in-house counsel. This lady that I talked to is a former IRS auditor. She is a CPA and a tax attorney, and she was great at it. Guess what? You don't need my help. My job is taking care of all the people whose CPAs don't know how to do this for them, which sadly is probably 75 to 80% is my best guess of small businesses across America. And then number 3 is the price fair. And that's typically the very last objection. And the answer is it's more than fair, right? When you look at the small cost of this compared to having a full-time CPA tax attorney on staff to be able to do this for you, this is a mere pittance. And again, it's only based upon success. Okay. And so if you don't win, we don't win either. Now, I'm positive you have questions, and that's exactly what the scheduling appointment is for. So we can get all of your highly personalized questions answered for you. And we're not going to do a Q&A right now. We're going to save that for the onboarding after the fact. So thank you so much, Jeremy. You can go ahead and end our call right now. God bless you. Have a wonderful afternoon. Thank you.